Ladies and gentlemen and logo designers, we're going to do part 5, the final tips and tricks, although it's not the final video, but this is the last tips and tricks I'm going to give you. So let's take a look at our spiel here. We're going to learn about envelope deformation and clipping masks. Alright, this is in red, so you have to write it down. It's a question. What can you do with an envelope deformation? Well, that is a great question. That is a question worth answering. So let's jump into Inkscape. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. This is our final for this little section of what we're trying to do. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is we need to make this fish shape. So when we make our fish shape, we're going to draw a perfect circle by pressing Control. And that is not a fishy color at all. Let's give it a nice fishy aqua color. Okay, so we're going to draw that circle, and let's make it a little bit bigger. So we're going to make it, we're going to just change the size. We're going to make it 125 by 125. Okay, so there's our circle. So we need to cut this circle down. So we're going to use a rectangle to cut it down. So we're just going to go like that. We probably want something like that. So we're going to select that, hit Shift, select that to select both, and we're going to go Path, and we're going to go Difference to cut it. So now I'm going to go press Control and C and Control and V to make a copy, and I'm going to go Object, and I'm going to go Flip it vertical, and then I'm going to line these things up like that, and they look lined up pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to click on this, I'm going to hit Shift, click on that, and I'm going to go Path, and I'm going to go Union, and we've got that. So I'm going to press on this, Control C, Control V, and we're going to make the tail. So we're going to cut that down. We're going to click and drag like that. We're going to select, Shift, select, and we're going to go Path, Difference. Okay, now we got our little fishy tail, and we're going to put it like, oh, like that looks good. Shift, click, Path, Union. Okay, so now we have our fishy shape. Alright, so now we're going to put some words into our fishy shape. Okay, so we're going to come over here, we're going to go to our text, we're going to make it big, we're going to try to find, well, we'll choose a font. So we're going to click and we're going to type in fish. Okay, and I don't like that font at all. I like the font, but I just don't like it for this. So we're going to select the font. Okay, we're going to come up here, we're going to select that, and we're going to hit the down arrow. And we're going to just keep hitting the down arrow until we find a font we like, kind of like the one above. Okay, so we're going to use that one. And we're going to move the font onto this thing here. We're going to, oh, that worked out just about right. Okay, so we're going to put it right there. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now is where we're going to get into the envelope, what do we call it? Deformation. So we're going to get to the envelope deformation. So we're going to click on that font, and then we're going to go to Path, and we're going to go to Path Effects. And there it is right there. And when we go there, oh, I can't click. Why can't I click? Well, because this is kind of an object, not a path. So we need to take this text object and turn it into a path. So we're going to go Path, Object to Path, and all of a sudden now our little plus symbol is available, and we click on it, and there's a lot of different things you can do. You can play around with these. These are kind of fun, but we're going to click on the envelope deformation, and we're going to click Add. Alright, so for this particular one, it says enable top and bottom, enable left and right. So that basically allows you to tweak the sides and the tops. So for us, we just want to do just the top and the bottom, so we're going to deselect that. Okay. So we're going to click on this thing, and you can see that a couple of things appear. Let me zoom in. We might as well zoom in so you can see this really well. Okay, so I can see it really well. All right, so we're going to go to the top bend, and you can see these appear. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this, and we're going to drag. You can see we can drag that up. Okay, and we can, if we want to, we can drag that up. And then we're going to click here, and we're going to stretch that nice like that. Okay, and then we're going to come over here, and we're going to bring this one down, something like more like that. And then we're just going to basically keep playing with it until we get it how we like it. So I messed it up. I'm doing the whole thing. There we go. Click on the whole thing. click on the top hat. There we go. All right, so I'm not going to get it perfect right here in front of you. Well, maybe I will. I'll play around with it a little bit until I get it pretty good. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay, so now we're going to go to the bottom one. And in the bottom one, we're going to drag this down there. And we're going to drag this over here. So you can see where I'm getting there. And so I'm going to mess around with it. Okay, so I'm not going to mess around with it until I get it perfect right now. I'm going to do that off screen. But one thing I do want to show you is that this is not just for text. It's made for all kinds of stuff. So here's a super weird looking little thing I have, and so I can go to it, and I can go to envelope distort as well, and I can do the same thing. So I can click, and I can drag it around. I can smush it around. So you can do that with all sorts of different shapes. This one I left both of them available, so I can do the right bend as well. So I can do all that. Okay. So at any rate, I'm gonna hit pause here, and I'm gonna finish my fish, and I'm gonna come back. Okay. So I played around with my fish lettering until I like it a little bit more. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to go to the fish head, or the fish body. We're going to turn it into head. We're going to go Control C, Control V. I want to make sure I have a copy of this thing. And I'm going to go and I'm going to draw another rectangle here. And drag it down a little bit. And I'm going to hit Shift, click on this, and then I'm going to go Path, Difference. And so now I have my little fish head. I'll move him down to where I like him. I'm going to draw a circle for the eye. Oh, it's not a circle. Draw a circle for the eyeball. And select, Shift, select, Path, Difference. Okay, so there's my little fishy head. Okay, so I want to chop the back of this H off a little bit. So if I'm going to click on this, and I need to apply these changes to make it permanent. So I'm going to go Path, Object to Path, and so now this is editable just like it is. Okay, and so then I'm going to go to my rectangle. I'm going to click a rectangle right there, and I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to go Path, Difference. Oh, it won't do it. Let me figure out why it won't do it. Okay, I figured it out. All right, so what we got to do is we click on this. These things are all together, grouped, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Object, and I'm going to go, where's Ungroup? Ungroup. Okay, so now I can select the H individually, hit Shift, select this thing, and then I can go Path, Difference. Okay, so I cut that. I don't know if that's actually better or not, but anyway, it's fine for now. Okay, so now the final thing is we need to do our what we're going to learn next, which is we're going to do a clipping mask. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Shift, and I'm going to group this all back together. So I'm going to go Object, and I'm going to go to Group, so it's working all as one thing, and then I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Import, and I put a picture of the ocean in my Assets folder. So there's the ocean. I'm going to place that, and I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to double click on this thing so I can see everything, and I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to shrink it down. Shrink it down, and I'm going to put it there, shrink it down a little bit more. Okay, now I need to get the ocean behind the fish for my clip, so I'm going to go Object, and I'm going to lower. I'm going to go Object and lower. Okay, and so then I'm going to hit Shift and click on the fish as well. So I selected both things, and then I'm going to go Object, Clip, and I'm going to set it, and so you can see the ocean inside the fish. Okay, so just some ideas for you, some tips and tricks for you. So now you can answer these questions. What can you do with the clipping mask? What can you do with envelope deformation? All right, I think that is it for this spiel. We're going to go on to part 6, color, next.